Have you ever wondered why some of the most brilliant minds go completely unnoticed? Not because they lack intelligence, but because their giftedness doesn't look the way society expects it to. While everyone searches for obvious genius, true intellectual depth often hides in plain sight, disguised as something ordinary or even misunderstood as problematic. Picture this. You're in a meeting, and while others discuss surface-level solutions, your mind automatically sees 12 different angles, 3 potential problems, and connections to seemingly unrelated fields. But instead of speaking up, you stay quiet. Not because you don't know the answer, but because explaining your thought process feels exhausting. You've learned that most people don't quite follow where your mind naturally goes. Psychology reveals that millions of gifted adults walk through life completely unaware of their intellectual capacity. Research shows that nearly 20 million gifted individuals in the United States alone remain unidentified. They don't fit the stereotype of the obvious prodigy or the straight-A student. Instead, their brilliance manifests in ways that often get misunderstood or silently overlooked entirely. Here's what no one talks about. Giftedness in adults rarely announces itself with fanfare. It whispers through patterns that feel more like quirks than superpowers. You might find yourself constantly questioning things others accept without thought. Your mind refuses to switch off, analyzing conversations hours after they've ended, finding connections between random pieces of information, or having detailed internal debates about abstract concepts. One of the clearest signs is emotional intensity that feels disproportionate to situations. Gifted individuals experience emotions with a depth that can feel overwhelming. You don't just feel sad about a movie. You feel the existential weight of human suffering. You don't just enjoy music. You experience it as if every note carries emotional meaning. This isn't oversensitivity. It's intellectual and emotional processing happening at an accelerated, deeper rate. But here's where most people go wrong. They assume intelligence means academic success or obvious achievements. The reality is far more complex. Many gifted adults struggled in traditional educational settings, not because they lacked ability, but because their minds needed different types of stimulation. They might have been labeled as underachievers, troublemakers, or simply average students who weren't living up to their potential. Your sense of humor probably sets you apart too, though you might not realize it. Gifted individuals often develop a wit that operates on multiple layers, finding irony and connections that leave others confused. You make jokes that require explanation, which instantly kills their humor. Over time, you learn to suppress this natural part of yourself to fit in better socially. Another overlooked sign is what psychologists call multipotentiality. Your resume might look scattered because you've genuinely excelled in different fields. You're not indecisive or unfocused. Your mind simply craves intellectual variety. Where others see career instability, you're actually following natural patterns of high-level gifted thinking. The most telling indicator might be your relationship with perfectionism. You set impossibly high standards because you can envision exactly how things should be. This isn't vanity. It's your mind's ability to see potential and possibilities that others miss. The frustration comes from knowing what's possible while living in a world that often settles for less. Here's the psychological paradox. Society has trained us to associate giftedness with obvious success, but many gifted adults experience the opposite. They feel isolated because few people understand their thought processes. They struggle with imposter syndrome because their intelligence doesn't match conventional expectations. They might even receive mental health diagnoses that address symptoms without recognizing the underlying intellectual complexity creating those symptoms. This isn't about being special or superior. It's about understanding how your mind actually works. Gifted thinking involves processing information differently, seeing patterns others miss, and experiencing reality with greater intensity. Recognition isn't about validation. It's about finally having context for experiences that might have felt confusing or isolating. You've just seen the mechanism. The next move is yours. You don't need to shout to be understood. You just need the right space to think clearly. That's what rational depth is. A quiet corner of the internet for intelligent minds. If you felt something here, subscribe. Quietly, thoughtfully, no noise, just clarity.